So, this is actually a really interesting question for me because I actually had somebody um, who talked to me or asked me, you know, basically what they were saying is they felt like I would be a good mother or somebody that would be good at raising children. And I remember having a conversation with them. At the time, I was in a place of feeling like I wasn't sure or I didn't know if I wanted to have kids. And they said something interesting to me. They said, what if you're meant to have children and your children or your child is meant to come in and basically save the world? What if they're the ones that's meant to do that? And I had never felt anything like what I felt in that moment. Not at the person themselves, but just at the thought of the understanding. I felt this complete and intense and utter rage. That's what I felt. I felt for the children that I don't currently have, like I felt this anger and this rage and this, how dare you? How dare you try to put a weight like that on my child's back? How dare you? So I had to really, really reflect, because I'd never felt such strong emotions pertaining to it. At the time, for many reasons, I felt like maybe I didn't want to have kids. I had raised my younger siblings and, felt like I'd experienced had the experience of raising kids. So, it wasn't necessarily for that and, the state of the world and everything else. But when this person said that to me, it really shocked me how strong and visceral the reaction that I had was. And I analyzed it, I thought about it, and I realized that if I were to ever have children, I would not want them to inherit an environment or a world that's full of destruction and just imbalance. So if I did have them, I would want them to inherit something amazing, something that they didn't have to be worried about trying to figure out how to fix themselves. So I realize now that it's not that I don't want kids. I'm in no rush by any means to have them, to be honest with you. I don't know if I will, we'll see. But the understanding that I do have is that if there's a timeline where I have children, it's in a world where I've done my best to make a place for them that is safe, and for me, it created an understanding within myself of doing my best to figure it out, doing my best to be a part of the solution in this world. Because, if even not having kids, the kids that I have, my friends that have kids and the kids that are around me, I want them to be able to have a life that is, not as stressed out as the average adult at this time. There's so much that's going on, and I want to figure it out for them just as much as I would want to have it figured out for my, potential future kids if they were to come along. So do I want children or believe in having children? I would say yes. But for me personally, I feel like it's about making sure that doing my best to be a part of the solution to make sure that if I did have children, they're coming into a world that is in a better place than what it is now. So I think to some extent, of course, the right person and everything else, but to some extent, it's for me about whether or not I feel like the world that I live in is what I would want my children to exist in. And if not, then I would rather not. That's how I feel. And I think, if you have conversations with many people of my age group and generation, it's a very similar understanding. Maybe they wouldn't speak it like that, but I've seen many things. They're like, hey, this world around us is, seems to be burning down and everything else. Why would I want to bring children into that? And I agree. I feel like we have a lot to fix, a lot to work on, a lot to, build and bring together in order to create a better world for the children to come. And it is not their burden to fix. That is not fair. because we don't like it. We, us young, who are of a certain age, we are, frustrated at what we have been left. How dare we just bring an understanding or bring children into that and be like, oh, well, it's your turn. I mean, we couldn't figure it out while we were here, or we didn't really, put enough energy into that. And we were focused on so many other things besides finding a solution. No, I don't think that that's right. And even the children that exist now around me, I very much want to, if I can, be a part of making it so that they don't have to grow up and be in this energy of dealing with so much extra stress because the adults that came before them, they just were like, well, I mean, somebody else gonna figure it out, so that's what I'm doing. I'm getting down to the ground, doing whatever I can, hammering away to work and figure things out for the potential of any kids that I could have, but also the children that already exist in this world. They deserve better. They really do. So that's my answer to this question.